I have the most annoying aunt ever. She's critiquing my parenting skills, and guys, get this. She's one of those annoying people, and I'm not saying this is against people who can't have babies, but she's one of those annoying people who never had babies before, and she always wants to parent people. Hey, you should do this with your kid. Hey, I read that online. It's not good to do this. She doesn't have a clue about being a mother. And you know what I'm going to say to her? And the whole family's holding their tongue, but I'm going to say it. What is the worst insult that you can give to a mom? That they know nothing about parenting? Sure, suggestions are welcome, but never tell someone that they're unable to parent just because their parenting style is different from yours. That's what I told my aunt today when she once again started to criticize my parenting style. I tried to be nice about it and not overbearing, but she decides to leave right after I called her out. And the cherry on top, my loyal, supportive husband took her side in front of everyone. But according to him, he did not take her side, he just tried to lighten the situation because it was going downhill. Well, Lord forbid I call someone out when they were attacking me in the worst way possible. And those are just the things that I have to deal with being a 33-year-old mom of a 5-year-old boy. I had my child a little later than most people in my family, something I was criticized for. My aunt was the worst one when it came to that. She's 37, and we've always had issues with each other because of her negative attitude. She's childless because she cannot have kids, but she appears to be an expert in all things related to kids, just because she's always volunteering to babysit other people's children. It's no secret that she desperately wants kids, but it's not possible. The doctor still can't figure out why she can't have kids, so instead she likes to babysit other people's children. When I gave birth, she offered me help with my son, which was a welcoming idea. I was very weak after the birth and struggling to take care of him. So my husband was working double shifts due to our increased expenses, and I was lonely. So she moved in with us and helped me with the baby for a few months. In exchange, I offered her money, which she refused. So, instead of giving her money, I decided to revamp her business and social media for her. She was very thankful and told me that it did improve her business, and we have thus been on okay terms since then. So guys, the problem started a few months ago when my son turned 5. He's become very talkative and interactive, and most kids at that age are. The downside of it is that he's too naughty. Due to that, we have to come up with some disciplinary methods and ways to talk to him so that he can stop. Well guys, my aunt disagrees with that for some reason and says that I'm going to spoil the child. She had so many suggestions on how to discipline them, and she tried to use them on him. I told her to stop because it was going to make the child confused. Besides the discipline issue, it's the fact that she's brought it up upon herself to teach him how to do things. I asked her to stop doing that if she was going to do the same thing that I asked her not to do. In the end, the child is confused and does not know what to do. He sees her 2 days a week at most and us the whole time. If I tell him that he could not do something and she tells me that he can, will that not confuse the child? He's only now starting to grasp language and meaning, and you know what? I was not too annoyed with her for what she had done because my husband said that she had no bad, ill intentions. He also feels that we owe her for helping us so much with our son. I agree that she has been so super helpful, but she should also respect other people's boundaries. And you know what? Tonight she made me so upset to the point where I had to tell her straight. She is not the child's mother. We don't allow our children to eat anything containing milk. Well, you know why? He's lactose intolerant, and he has learned how to ask if something has milk in it. So, we taught him not to eat that thing if the person says yes. My cousin Aubrey was also here for dinner with her husband, and her son had a little treat with Mom. My son asked for it because the two boys always share food, but then I asked Tommy to ask the very important question. So then he asked Aubrey if the treat had milk, and she said yes, it does. I then told him that he could not have it, and the matter was over. Well, that's what I thought at least until I heard crying from the kitchen. When I came back in, I found him rolling on the floor throwing a tantrum. So I asked what he wanted, and Aubrey's kid said the treat. I asked Aubrey to take her son to another room so that he could eat his treat alone. But then my aunt said that I should let him eat the treats in front of Tommy, so that Tommy would learn to listen to me next time. She said that he knew there was milk and yet he threw a tantrum when he did not get what he wanted. She even said that if it were her kid, she would let them eat so they know how bad it is for their health. That was when I snapped and told her it was not her kid, and she could not question my parenting style. I would rather he cried than suffer all night. He's 5, his brain's not fully developed, and that I would punish him for wanting something that he can't have? Anyways, she told me that she was just suggesting it, since she's been taking care of kids for a long time, much longer than me. So I asked her where her motherly instinct was. Everybody shut up when I said that and looked at me. I knew that I'd gone too far, but what gave her the right to go far too? I'm not letting my son eat something he should not have just because he cried. She was not happy after that, but I decided to ignore her. I was already stressing about Tommy, who would not stop crying at all. So I took him to his room and gave him some toys to play with while he calmed down. He must have been tired because he passed out 20 minutes later. 1 minute he was playing with his cars, and the next there was silence. He had just drifted off to sleep. I went back to the living room, only to find my aunt and her husband gone. Aubrey was still there, and she gave me a sympathetic look. She told me that we would talk about it later and that dinner would carry on. Not without my husband calling me out, though, but I already told you that part. Once everybody left, we discussed the issue further, and it was clear that we could not come to a clear decision about whether it was okay for my aunt to do that or not. So we just decided to leave it. Little did I know that I was in for another shock. Guys, my husband. Yep, he had gone to bed, right? And I went to check in on Tommy. He looked so upset, like he had lost something, so I asked him what he was looking for. He said his mom. Well, my heart melted that he woke up, and I was not there, and now he was looking for me. But that was not the case. He said, not me. Mom. He kept on insisting that he wanted to see Mom. So I thought that he was talking about his school teacher and showed him a picture of her. But he was angry and stormed out of the living room. Then he went right to where my aunt had been sitting, and there he stood crying. I was so flabbergasted. Surely this was not what I was seeing. Was my son implying that his mom was my aunt? It had to be a cruel joke, I'd say. So I lied to him that I could get her for him, and then I somehow managed to get him to go to sleep. I, on the other hand, cannot sleep. I keep on looking at my husband sleeping next to me, and I'm not going to wake him up, but in the morning I want him to tell me what the hell's going on. Why the hell is our son calling that woman Mom? Does he know about this? This has to be weird, right? I mean, tell me I'm not the one who feels that it's so weird. She's not his mother, so why did she tell him to call her Mom? Without asking, I know that it was her stupid idea and want to know why she did it. Please tell me what you think about this and give me advice if you need to. I'm more than open to your insight on the matter. Update number 1. Hey everybody, it's me again. I would get back to you after reading your comments and seeing what you guys had to say. Well, some of you did not hold back. You told me that I was probably making a big deal, that my aunt just wanted to help me. You also reminded me of the fact that when I'd given birth, she was the one who was there for me the entire time. I get where you're coming from, but it doesn't matter that she can't just tell me how to parent. I'm glad to see that some of you shared the same sentiments as I did, though. After all, as a mom, mom is the first word that a child calls when they're in trouble. Why should that title pass to somebody else? Some of you said that I had to confront my aunt and find out why my child was calling her mom when she was not his mom. Maybe there was an explanation and she had no malicious intentions behind it. Okay, then I decided to just do that. And this is how it went. I sent her a message asking to meet during the week, and she responded and said that we could meet at a restaurant. So I agreed, and we set up a meeting and met. First off, I apologized for the tone I used when I spoke to her earlier, and she accepted it. Then I bluntly asked her why my child was calling her mom. That's when she could have said that it was a mistake on her part and that she would stop telling my child what to call her. But, well, Madam decided that she was not going to take any accountability for this. She said it was, well, me, that I was crazy. It was all in my head. Guys, can you even imagine this? I mean, my son called her mom several times when I showed him the photo. How could she say that it was all in my head? I asked her to tell me the truth till I was blue in the face, but she just stuck by that. So then I told her that she could not babysit my child anymore if that was the case. Well, who knows what else she's been telling her. When I get home, I sent a message to Aubrey to let her know that I was not going to allow that woman to babysit my child again because she told my son to call her mom. Well, that's when Aubrey told me that it gets crazier, and she wanted to talk to me in person before the end of the week, so I wonder what the heck she has to say to me. I'm actually kind of worried now. Has my child been in an unsafe environment all too long? I have no idea. And I'm kind of stressed right now. Please, guys, tell me what to do about her. How do I get her to admit what she's been doing? Update number 2. Hey guys, it's been a month since, my last update and what happened, and I have no words at all. My aunt has taken the words out of my mouth, and now I'm just sitting here dumb. Well, she really knows how to play this game, and my stupid husband's going along with it. I can't believe that she's turned my house into an absolute war zone. I'm not okay with it, and I'm fed up. I may need to do something about her, for I've been silent for far too long. Firstly, I visited Aubrey, who told me that she stopped letting my aunt babysit her children because she was teaching her children to call her mom. Aubrey walked in on her doing it one day and decided that it needed to stop. So she told her husband that he needed to do something about it. However, her husband is too much of a peacekeeper, so he decides to get them another babysitter and leave my aunt alone. They did not tell anyone in the family because they had no idea that she was doing it to other people as well. They also did not want to cause drama to stir up in the family. That's something I totally understand, but then I called her and told her what happened with Tommy, and she realized that it was such a big issue. So she called me over and told me what happened with her children. So of course I went home and told my husband that my aunt was not to be near my children. She is interfering with my parenting and confusing them. Some people might see what she did as harmless, but it isn't. What will happen if my son is lost and they asked him where his mother is? I mean, think about it. Will the images in his head not be a bit distorted? In addition, will he not start crying for someone who doesn't even live with us? Yep, some might think that I'm jealous like my husband thinks, and oh yeah, my husband is not having any of what I talked about. He straight up told me that unless I wanted to come up with the money for a new babysitter, we were not changing. He said that my aunt was the best, and she did not charge that much because she loved the children and wanted to be around them. She was also lonely in the house because her husband was always away for business, but he said that if we did this, we would be hurting her and showing her that we are completely ungrateful. Okay then, I decide to let it slide, till my son's teacher calls me because she was concerned. She said that my son was not participating that much at school and she was simply worried about him. She gave me a detailed account of how he would not speak when he needed to use the bathroom. He was not eating and not playing with the other children, so I went to the school to ask what's going on, and there was no answers. He had been with that crazy woman the previous day, so I called her up. She laughed and asked me what the accusations were and if they would ever stop. She then said that she and my son played a game the previous day. Well, that game, she had no idea that he was still playing the game when he went to school. She said that he liked to play the game, and she could not stop him if he wanted to. She then hinted that she had so much power over him that he would do anything that he told her to. Well, when I brought it up to my husband, I got the same old answer. I was overreacting and being difficult. Okay, if they want to see difficult, they can, and they will. She's been meddling too much in my life, and it simply needs to stop. Therefore, I'm going to teach her a lesson that'll make her stay away from my son. So, it's clear that she's only doing this to mess with my head, and it's almost like she wants my family all to herself. Update number 3. Well. if I did not hit the nail on the head. I was right about that crazy woman. She's been up to something very sinister, and I've caught on to her. Read carefully how I'm going to deal with somebody who's chosen to mess with my family. There's a reason why most animals will hunt you down if you dare touch their offspring, and it should be a lesson to her. That was my first lesson. I played a wildlife video for her or something like that happening while she and I were having some wine as the men barbecued. Her husband had just gotten into town, and after almost 2 months away at that, so we decided to have a little get-together for him. My aunt was not drinking, which was strange for her. It made me suspect. She and her husband were also giving each other weird looks. It was quite unsettling, and after they left, I realized that she left her bag at my house. I tried to call her to let her know that she left it, but her phone was in the bag. I figured that she would realize this soon and try to take her phone, but then I got a bit curious. What if there was something useful in there? I wish I had not looked through that bag. In there was a baby's sock and a mitten. Well, I recognized the sock as one that belonged to my son when he was younger. It got lost and we simply never found it. As for the mitten, I had no idea who it belonged to, so I just took pictures of it for evidence. And then I saw the positive pregnancy test, and I remembered that she had recently gone to use the restroom before I asked to drink with us. So this was why she was not drinking at the party. She was pregnant, and she had not told everyone something. She told me to take a picture of that too, so I did. You may not believe it, but the timing seemed too coincidental. Yet everything that I'm telling is very, very true here. Some minutes later, her husband came to take the bag, and I could not keep what I said to myself. So I decided to confide in my husband about it. I was, very concerned that she would keep those items in her bag, and I might have twisted the truth a little bit when it came to him, and said that her bag had fallen, and this is just how I came to find out that the contents were in it. I showed him all the pictures and said that I was concerned about the children. Before, he had been such a strong advocate for her, and a strong belief in her, but now all that changed because he agreed with me. This was not normal. She's clearly struggling because of not being able to conceive all these years. That's when my husband told me that he had to confront her. There was no other way about it. And so, that is what we did. We brought her and her husband over so that he could discuss something important, and I told them what I've seen in her bag, and as soon as I showed them the test, her husband got up and pointed a finger at her. He asked her who the hell she's been sleeping with. Well, she said that there's no one else, and just because he was working did not mean that she seeked the company of other men. But he would not have it. He told her that there's no way that child was his because he had a vasectomy years ago after he got married. She was so mad and asked him why he did that without even asking her about it. But you know what? I was just sitting there in utter shock. Well, that took a horrible turn. They argued in front of us for minutes, and we just looked at each other. There was nothing much that we could do but try to calm them down. I took my aunt over to the other room and got her some water. She told me that she didn't want water. She wanted something stronger. Well, I reminded her, no, you're pregnant, and she could not have anything stronger. She asked me if I was crazy. She then went back into the room and told him, by the way, that she never cheated on him because the test was not hers. And she said that she had bought it because she was so depressed about not falling pregnant, knowing that for over 15 years her husband had deceived her. So she stayed with it for a while so that she could just pretend she was pregnant because she was majorly depressed about it. She started to cry and said that she was so sorry for wanting just one thing: a child. I sat there with the most awful feeling in my belly. What had I done? My husband was looking at me with pure disappointment in his eyes, and I had nowhere to look. But then I wondered, how could one fake the positive sign that a pregnancy test showed? Maybe I'm really overthinking and overreacting just like my husband has been telling me, right? Please tell me what to do to redeem myself. Update. Hey guys, so things did not really go according to plan. Everything backfired on me the last time I tried to expose my aunt. I was seen as a bad person by my family and insensitive. My aunt blamed me for causing a rift in her family, and my husband would not even speak to me. It was a difficult couple of weeks, and I had just no idea how crazy it was all about to be. For I learned that my discovery was not for nothing. My being basically alienated from my family was absolutely not for nothing. See, I had gone to make the mistake of revealing my cards too soon, without investigating and getting a bit more proof. Because of that, she was able to turn things over and make me look like a bad person, and for a while I thought I was one, and I lost my child to her. He only wanted to spend time with her as the weeks went by and progressed, and I would not dare say a word to him. That was until I got an unexpected message from my uncle, who wanted to meet me. So, a couple of weeks after she embarrassed me in front of everyone, I met up with my uncle. He told me that he had a reason to believe that she was indeed pregnant, and he thought that he knew who the father was. I asked him how he could be so sure since he said that it was a fake test. He told me that he found a report related to pregnancy, but the name was cut from it. He also saw her looking for a clinic where one could go and get rid of a baby as he checked the history of her phone. Of course, after the pregnancy test incident, to get rid of the baby just after a few months of pregnancy was legal in our state, just so I clear this out here first. Anyways, he said that ever since that day, she had been very shifty. She's been secretive and jumpy, and he said that it gave him reason to believe that she really was pregnant. And since there was no chance that he could be the father, it just had to be somebody else. I had to stop him right there. If he was telling the truth, why did he do it without telling her? Is that not a betrayal? I was on her side when it came to this, If you don't want to have kids, then your partner should be able to know. You don't go and get a secret vasectomy. Well, he revealed to me that she knew that he did not want kids once he was married. It was something he told her when they started dating, and she acted like she was just okay with it. But then they got married, and she changed her mind, and she wanted nothing more to have kids after they got married, which was not what they agreed upon. So, he just decided to go ahead with the vasectomy and not tell her. He let the reason why they could not have kids remain a mystery, and up until it had been revealed in such a shocking manner. As you can imagine, I was quite shocked by his confession, and suddenly I wanted nothing to do with this whole mess. But he gripped my hand and told me that he needed my help. He told me every single day he watched her with my son, and she was getting more and more obsessed with him. He confessed that he found a drawer of things that she had stolen from my son. Well, that scared me to no end. It actually sent shivers down my spine as I realized how deep this actually went. Well, she needed help and to stay the hell away from my son? So we just informed a plan that we executed quickly but not painlessly. Her husband went to mine and told him the extent of what happened. He said that he did not want our son coming over anymore. My husband simply could not say no to him. It's his house, after all. After that, Aubrey and I showed up at my aunt's house, and we told her that we knew all that she had done, and we had a solution for her. We would not tell anybody that she cheated or that she had a child with somebody else if she agreed to seek counseling. Not having a baby was obviously affecting her. So we also asked her to reconsider terminating, and she told us that we are crazy. She then threatened to hurt us if we did not leave her property. But we were relentless and tried to get through to her. That was the day I found out that she kept a gun on the premises. Yeah. After she threatened us with it, we had no choice but to tell the whole family what she did. Her husband also confronted her, only to find out that she had indeed been having an affair with a neighbor who was married with children. So she went through with what she wanted to, and the whole community knew about it. There was nowhere that she could go, and where she was not shunned and looked at. I could not do anything to help her. She gave me a nasty look whenever she saw me, as if she just blamed me for everything that's become of her life. Final update. Hey, everybody. First of all, thank you for the comments and all the support that I've gotten. Sure, not everyone agreed with what I did in the end, but you cannot please everyone. I did what I had to do because everything was getting too messy and my own marriage was being compromised. But guys, in the end, well, it was just another thing that had to go. It's now nearly 3 months after what happened, and let me tell you everything that's been up to since then. You're not going to believe some of this. Well, my husband was more than ashamed after he took her side and not mine, and he understood how disappointed I was. I'm his wife, and she's just some other woman. It was not okay for him to doubt me. It's clear that he doesn't trust me, and he's working towards rebuilding the trust of doing more around the house and just spoiling me. That is my love language, acts of service. So my son's doing very well for himself at his new school. When he's done with school, I take care of him and Aubrey's kids. We alternate the days that we're with the children after school, and on weekends we set up play dates for them. I guess it's kind of hard for us to trust anyone else with our kids after what happened. Can you blame us? It was not so easy for us to trust anyone after what my aunt did. As for her, well, her husband got separated from her and left town for good. I know that they're in the process of a divorce, but it does not seem to be going anywhere. My only source of information is Aubrey's mom, who is the most reliable journalist in town. She's even more reliable than real journalist, which is very beneficial for us. What I do know is that my aunt was forced to move out of her house and has had to move to a smaller apartment. She now only has her business to rely on financially, which is, by the way, not doing that well, which is understandable. Also, the wife of the person that she cheated with could not let go of the anger of what the man had done. Guys, she ran him over with their car. Luckily, he did end up surviving, but barely. Anyways, she then sold the house and moved out after running over her husband. As for the man that she cheated with, he was not seen in town again. It was not like there was anywhere he could go without being ridiculed for his actions. It was very funny that he could have fallen for her. They have actually nothing in common. They were known to hate each other because of different political beliefs, and as they say, there is a very thin line between love and hate, which they obviously crossed. I mean, this story just progressively became even more chaotic and to the point of nuclear. I mean, somebody gets ran over by a car. Two cheaters completely ruin two different families, and we find out the aunt is not only a cheater, manipulative, toxic, she's also a dirty liar, saying, hey, you know what, this is actually your baby. Well, it turns out her husband got a vasectomy, which also makes him a liar, because he never told the truth to her about, hey, it's not you that can't have a baby, it's because I went behind your back to get this vasectomy. Guys, today's story was absolutely insane in so many different avenues. I mean, there was a lot of people in the wrong here. I want to know what you guys would have done, how you would have handled it, and just give me some details about what you think. Down below in the comment section, guys, thank you for joining me today. My name's Mr. Reddito, and if you are interested in more of these sort of stories, just consider subscribing, guys. Have a great day. Check out all my channels, Mr. Reddito's Revenge Stories, Mr. Reddito Animated, and the channel you're watching right now, Mr. Reddito Stories. Those are the 3 channels. If you subscribe to all of them, you will have endless stories to just binge. Guys, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. And of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.